Hey guys, got some cool things for you today. Yes, I do. Especially cool. Got this feather, and it's been used 61 times, and that is uncommon, according to a lot of guys. Feathers lose their sharpness after just a few uses. Well, this doesn't work out that way. It begs to differ. Let's get even cooler than that. Darkfall from Declaration Grooming, and this is the Milksteak base, his newest base. Big fan of the base, although I probably like Icarus or Bison a little better. Still a wonderful base, and this scent is amazing. Very glad to be using it, and we are enjoying some colder weather these days, so why not pull that guy out? And then, to top it all off, I've got this brush right here. Shake some of the water out, show it to you here. Had it soaking. As you can see, it's a 2-band Badger brush. 2-band because the blackness, the dark band is quite wide and pretty much goes all the way down to the bottom of the knot. And then we've got soft, light colored tips. With a 3-band, the dark band is like the width of my finger or maybe even a little smaller than that. And then it picks up again with a lighter band down here. Now this is a Thader knot. A Thader 2-band brush knot. And I don't think I have one of those, but I may, and I enjoy it. But I think it may have like a little short handle or something like that. What's this handle? This is, it says Thader on it, but this is a crossover. It's called the crossover brush, the 400 crossover, because Alpha are the guys who have made this handle. It's solid aluminum. It's really cool. It's designed after the 400 by Rubber Set, a classic vintage brush, and they have milled this guy out of a solid chunk of aluminum. They even put a disc in here where you could screw it up and down to set the height of the knot really easily. I thought that was terrific. I set it myself with silicone, and I may put an O-ring or something in here just to kind of lock it down, but we'll see. So it's called the Thader Alpha Bully Boy 400 crossover. And they call it a Bully Boy because they took the general look of the 400, but they fattened it up and they might have lengthened it a little bit. And so my big hands, I do enjoy the 400 a lot. This one was even thicker, bigger, and so I thought maybe I'd enjoy this one even more. And so it was a limited edition. I was able to jump in on the list to get it. This is one of the first 40 ever made. And hopefully the knot is wonderful. And they may make another batch. And so people might be able to sign up for the next 40 or whatever they decide to do. But I got one of the first 40 and I'm really glad that I jumped in on that. A little pricey, but if it's going to be with me for years and years and years, then I think it's worth it. I've had it soaking for a while, and so it has the tips have gotten pretty soft. And with these kind of badgers, you do need to use them for about a week or that many uses to be able to accurately know how they're going to behave from then on. Sometimes they act their own characteristic way right away. Sometimes there may be a little too stiff at first and they do soften up. So we'll just see what kind this is. I'm going to get him back in the water. That handle is a heavy bugger, I'll tell you that. All right, and then I am going to put, just like in a recent video I mentioned, this is the Fine Accoutrements World's Finest Razor. And I'm going to take the feather that has 61 uses and put it in here. Just see how it feels. I've had wonderful success with this razor with the pull silver with the Gillette Platinum, Gillette Silver Blue, Gillette Nacid. I need to take some of those 7 o'clock blades and try them in this thing. But we're going to jump back. And all those other ones I mentioned, I got very young blades to show you guys how it would work with a young blade. Well, now we're going to step into something a little older, because when I use the feather, a new feather with this razor, it wasn't as nice as all those other blades that I mentioned. It's really been, I think, the only blade that didn't really impress me with this razor. So let's put old feather in it and see what happens. I believe the feather of this age, I've had to switch and use razors. Yeah, this one has kind of a signature on the feather blade. With it, I may have had to switch razors away from mild razors and to something a little bit more aggressive. And this is kind of a mid-aggressive razor, but it shaves very smoothly. And so I might say that it's a little bit more mild than mid-aggressive. So, but we'll see what goes on. All right, less than 24 hours since my last shave, so it's not a lot to cut off, but I want to get back on my nightly cycle. I think we're ready to go, so I'm going to get my face wet. Regarding our car accident, my hand, the swelling there is going down. It's much more comfortable at the end of today than it was in the beginning, so that's encouraging. Still probably need to go see a doctor and have it checked out just to make sure. But things are going well regarding that. And I think we're ready to load the soap. Let's do a 40-second load since we don't know about this brush. It's a 2-band, and so what that means is often the tips have been treated with some type of chemical like bleach or a bleach type solution to soften them up. And the main parts of the bristles have a little bit more backbone than, say, something soft like a silver tip. And so that's why people like this type of knot, because it has a little bit more backbone, but still a lot of softness thanks to the treatment. The treatment does weaken the brush a little bit, and so if you only buy one of these brushes and use it every day, 7 years, I don't really know what time frame it will probably wear out, because those treated tips are not as strong as untreated tips. But most people have a couple of these brushes, and well, then that means that they'll, if you have a rotation, they'll last just a really long time. All right, let's try 40 seconds. We've got 10 rolling around right there. And this is not feeling, okay, so I did 10 seconds. It's feeling kind of pasty. And so what I want to do is add some water to the soap. Sometimes if you just keep loading on something pasty, then it just never works out. It takes a lot more loading. So we did 10 seconds, so let's do 30 more. And 45 is going to roll around right there. So I put maybe a 1/4 teaspoon of soap on the water on the soap there. So we're going to go to the 15-second mark, and yeah, you can see some of the suds kind of start working up there. And for the last 5 seconds, I'm actually going to add just a little bit more water, and then we'll do 5 more seconds. And there we go. Oh, Darkfall smells so good. So there we go. That is the amount of soap we were able to pull up. Executive Man Balm from Sterling is my destination balm at the end. And just in case I need it, I probably will use it. I need to use that up. And I don't think it's going to clash with Darkfall. because Darkfall probably isn't going to be resident on my face too much. But if I do really enjoy the Darkfall, the Milksteak formula is probably going to let me skip the balm if I want to. So that's pretty cool. All right. Now, this brush was dry and I was pushing on it, lots of backbone, because we're talking about lots of stiffness. Oh, now I am feeling it as I mix it up here. Let me tilt you down. I'm actually feeling the backbone here. And I'm encouraged that it's not too much. When I bought this brush, they were going to set the knot for me, but I told them, hey, I'm kind of particular the way I like to have it set. I want it really high so that it's nice and soft. And we just came to the agreement, hey, why don't you just send me both and I'll just set it myself. And that way I know that I'm going to use silicone to do it in case I want to change my mind later. I'll be able to do that. And since I've got it as high as it'll go, when I felt the knot, it felt like it had a good bit of backbone. The only direction I would change it would be to shorten the loft a little bit. So with silicone, I can just yank the knot out. And lower that disc and reset it. Now, not a lot of lather is forming right now, but that's okay. We've now got 2 teaspoons in the lather, and let's add a little bit more. Tell you what, when the Milksteak formula came out, there were definitely some guys online who just fell in love with it right away. I've been on a barrister and man kick for a little while because I just hadn't used their soaps in a long time. But Declaration Grooming is similar in that I really have several in there that I could shave with over and over and over that I just really enjoy. And as we have added water, we're starting to get more lather. 3.5 teaspoons total in the lather now. And I'm going to start looking at it more with a critical eye now, because I don't want to overwater it. It's possible that I already have, but should be okay. It's not a really puffy lather. It's not going to get as high as some of those others. This is a heavy handle. It is Bully Boy is an apt name. I'm finding it very comfortable. Now the fluting here on the handle, you see how there is a little bit of flatness on the top of the flute here. The Razor Rock handles that look like this, that are a little more narrow, they have this same thickness to the ridge, whereas the original 400 doesn't. It actually comes to more of a point. And what that does with the original design is it makes this U shape right here bigger. And on the Razor Rock model, this U shape is smaller, and it's actually too small for my fingers to fit in. And so that, even though I liked the price of that handle, it failed in the ergonomics, because the crucial factor of me being able to put my fingers, in those areas, it just didn't work out. And so I was hoping that this brush, because of its size, would work with my fingers, and it sure is. It's working great. Oh yeah, that's a good looking lather. I'm also very pleased with the backbone that I'm experiencing. It definitely doesn't feel too thick. Yeah, we don't want to go with any more water than what we've got in there already, so that's good. And now I'll get my face wet one more time. Okay. Now with some lathers, if it's all peaky like that, that means it's too dry. But I think Milksteak might be a little different. Oh man, easy splay. That is nice. Now if it gets any more kind of floppy than this, I might have to sink the knot down a little bit. If you wonder if you should sink a knot down, there's an easy trick. Get some O-rings from the hardware store or Amazon. They can be like nylon, stretchable. They can be silicone O-rings or rubber, and you can take it and put it right at the base of the knot. You could even put 2 or 3 on there, and that will act as if the knot is sunk deeper. And so you can put one on one and stack them up if you want. Just put one on there. And the ones that I have are probably about 2 millimeters wide. And so that would tell me if I sunk it 2 millimeters deeper, that's how it would feel. It's a great way to figure out what loft you might want without having to fully commit and glue it up. This feels great. And this is the standard Thader 2-band. It's not super soft in terms of the tip softness, but I wouldn't be surprised if that changes with a little bit of time. Feels great in terms of the backbone. It might be a little too thick. So we can put a little water in the brush. One tip to know that you can add some more water if you want to is if adding water all of a sudden around kind of the perimeter of your shave, if it gets thicker and thicker and your brush kind of still looks the same, then that means as you're adding water, you're actually generating more lather, which means that you had more soap in your brush or on your face that kind of needed to be joined up with some more water. Oh man, Darkfall smells so good. I was excited to get this brush in, and man, I couldn't wait as it set, as the silicone set. I like to give it 3 days. That's probably overkill, but I like to make sure that the knot has as good a chance as possible. I did score the bottom a little bit with, I don't know, some kind of file or something, a rasp or something like that to give it, because it was a very smooth knot. The bottom of the knot was, the glue disc was very smooth, and I didn't want that to be popping out. All right, when I didn't want it to. All right, 62 uses now with this shave. Let's just see what happens with the feather. Not really a problem. not tugging, too much. Yeah, this leather definitely needs a little bit more water. I've used Milksteak some. I did 2 weeks with the puzzle, or 3 weeks, I can't remember. But I kind of forgot the visual cues that let me know when it was ready. So you can tell this is not a crisp and new feather blade. Just a little bit of tugging, tiny bit really. You know what it feels like? It feels like maybe when you have let your hair grow out just a little bit too much. And see, I've got so much of this lather, I can just kind of keep doing this spot treatment if I wanted to. All right, let's do a rinse. All right, so here we are. I went ahead and added a whole teaspoon of water to the bowl, and then I used the brush to really integrate everything. The extra concentrate that was kind of in the brush mixes with the extra water in the bowl and all that, so hopefully we have got a good mix that's even better than that first pass. Yeah, looks like it. Still creamy. Didn't water it down too much. Second pass. The feather blade has been taken to 100 by somebody that I know. So we know it can be done by somebody. And I'm not too far away. 48 uses now. 38, I guess. After this one. It's not too bad. Sure feels like it's going to make it. And on my face, it still feels like it could use a little bit more water. Very kind to my face right now. That's one of the nice things about using a blade so many times, is that it can turn a really aggressive blade into something a lot more smooth, because it's just not quite so edgy as it was. All right. Third pass. Cross grain again, and obviously at the end of the shave we'll check out and see if the closeness is where it needs to be to keep on using the feather. Kind of feels like it will be. And in some spots it's getting a little difficult to find the angle. And so that means that we have really done a good job of trimming down those hairs. I did shave off in an area that's not hairy on my neck, and so I did get a little tiny bite of irritation. And now let's shift directions in my tricky spot here. And there we go. Kind of go around. You can take some of the lather. You can even just reach down in your bowl, you know, if you want to touch up some spots. Feel around. Feels like a nice close cut. Yeah, very slick as usual from the Milksteak. Milksteak is deceptively slick. You can switch directions like that. All right, final rinse. Now, a Milksteak is a little different animal because you do kind of leave your face in the rinsing process. You leave your face with a little bit of moisture or conditioner on your face. You don't, like many other soaps that don't have all these moisturizers and conditioners, you know you're done when everything rinses clean and your face really isn't slick anymore. But I don't think that's really the way Milksteak was intended. It's got the butters and or moisturizers to help you out, and so I decided to stop rinsing a little earlier than I might normally, because I believe that what I've got left on my skin it's the whole goal of Milksteak to provide that moisturization. All right, and I have plenty of lather left. I could do a couple more passes, and that's good. Look how fluid that is. That's terrific. Milksteak is nice, and I still am getting that Darkfall scent. I don't think I'm going to use the balm. I think I want to roll around in this scent a little bit more. All right, so I'm going to clean up my gear, just kind of let my face enjoy being my face. And here we go. Here's what the knot looks like after the fact. Nice little dense knot. Pretty soft tips, but not outrageously soft. In fact, I'm kind of glad they're not this soft, because I think they will soften up just a little bit more over time. And I'm glad they're not hooking right away. I am not a big fan of the gel tip knots, and so I'm hoping this doesn't head that route. But the great thing about our shaving hobby right now is that if you try a brush and discover, hey, that handle's too heavy, or this knot has too little backbone or too much backbone, or the tips aren't quite soft enough, you can put it on the Shave Bazaar or any of the buy-sell trade parts of a forum that might be out there, like Badger and Blade or Damn Fine Shave, or those are the two big popular ones. Facebook has a buy-sell trade. I think it's called Buy-Sell Trade Enablers or something like that. And those are some of the three most popular of the buy-sell trades. And then, of course, you got the Shave Bazaar, which is on Reddit, and it's really popular. A lot of good stuff there. So, a good first try with this. It's a heavy, it's a heavy handle. All right. Yeah, I'm enjoying the Darkfall, and my face feels good. So I do think I'm going to skip the balm, and let's check out the closeness. I see several tips in some of the hairs, and so it's definitely not cutting as closely with this razor as some of those newer blades that I was working with. So it's fun to try it out, you know. We'll try another blade, maybe another old blade in it, or who knows what. I also brought my Rhodium Fat Boy that you've seen once, maybe before, with me, and I think I brought one other razor. Can't remember exactly what, but the next few days here we'll run through those. And I have Declaration Grooming Weinstrass, which might be on the schedule here in the next couple days. And I have Admiral. I know that I love Admiral. A big fan of that one. But Weinstrass has a little bit of a ladylike tendency to it. But it's rare, hard to get, and it was a very interesting scent nonetheless. And so I have kept it around because I want to revisit it and kind of mull it over and see if I sometimes when you notice something very dominant about a scent that might put you off, but you keep using the scent, you start to see things, you start to smell hidden things in it and nuances to it that you can then start to appreciate, and then all of a sudden you find it very interesting and enjoyable. And so especially on the well done scents that a lot of people like, that are also that are created by really smart people that also put together other scents that I know I like, I'm going to give those a more of a chance to enjoy those and get used to them than maybe I would if with a smaller company that just does pre-blends or just doesn't quite have the track record with me. And some definitely definitely can do that sometimes. All right, gotta clean up my gear. So I did a 40-second load and 5 teaspoons of water, and I probably should have used 6 teaspoons. So there we go. And of course that is brush dependent. A different brush is going to load a different amount of soap per swirl potentially. So this is for this kind of brush. Not so much during the shave, but from the tub I get the kind of dank burned leaves kind of smell, but not too pungent, not too burny, but oh man, that is just good. That is really good. And that's the shave for today. A nice close cut, not super close in my trouble area. The moisturizing effects of this soap, good enough to let me avoid a balm after the shave. Reasonably comfortable shave. The second and more passes were, of course, smooth and very enjoyable. The first one just a little bit tuggy. And so it's not a great match between the razor and the blade, but I don't think too many of you guys are going to be using a 61 use feather in this particular razor. And really happy with the brush. I'm curious to see if the tips soften up. I may have actually set it a little bit too high. We'll just see what happens. The soap, wonderful. Razor and blade, fun little experiment. Lather, I am just really surprised that I put that much water into it and it still needed just a little bit more. So that's what Milksteak is kind of about. The slickness with Milksteak seems to be, if I could try to describe it, a little fuzzier type of lubrication, where the Icarus and a lot of those older bases, slightly older, like Glissant and Fine Accoutrements and Tobacco and those sorts, is more of a technical, tight kind of slickness that I kind of enjoy a little bit more. Instead of being kind of fuzzy and moisturizing, they're just, we are slick and you're just going to glide and we're going to protect you and then we're going to rinse away pretty easily. That's just maybe what I like a little bit better. I think we're good. So there we go. I hope there was something in this shave that you enjoyed that's going to help you out. You take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves, and good night.